Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Now whenever I'm playing more of the later Sonic games that came out in the 2010s, I always just get the feeling that they don't match up to the same type of quality that other games got around that time. As an example, right? The same year we got the remakes for Crash 1 to 3, we also got Sonic Forces. Yeah, and look, I get it, Sonic Forces was a bad game for a ton of reasons, but I just feel like the quality control was the main reason. It just didn't feel like it had as much effort put into its animation, gameplay, mechanics, etc. compared to other platformers that came out at the same time. With the classic and the Dreamcast era of games, Sonic was in line with a lot of other types of genres of games that came out in that period. I think it's mainly because of the limitations of gaming both in 2D and 3D, but it didn't just affect Sonic Team when they were making these games, since other dev teams like Capcom, Ubisoft, EA, they were also in the same boat. Nintendo wasn't an exception either. Anyone who tells you that Mario 64 aged well is a liar. But anyways, it was easy to see that Sonic games had quality to them, and they tried to have something be different in each game, but also not be lacking in the areas where it counted. One thing I personally prefer from the older games was just how different the soundtracks were back then. Maybe this is just a thing that they changed just because of how times changed in general, but the soundtracks for earlier games just gave off a different feeling compared to any of the games from the 2010s, to be honest. Now obviously when you're making a Sonic game, the development of one just makes things way more complicated than just a regular platformer. I mean, just look at the level maps for any of the levels compared to something like, I don't know, Ratchet and Clank. But I think it's impressive that they were just able to keep up and not stop at just the most necessary parts. I think this reached its peak with Sonic Unleashed, and there's a reason why this game is known to be the last AAA Sonic game. The cutscenes, the story, the amount of time they put into making the engine just for the game, everything adds just how good the quality of this game was. But after this, it really didn't stay that way for long. I think Sonic Team had their troubles with the dev sizes that they had on certain games. I mean, that's probably the main reason Sonic 06 sucked. But this was an even bigger problem going into the 2010s. I think the main reason was because Sega wanted to put a lot of their effort into the Yakuza and Persona series, sidelining a lot of the other IPs that they had. Though to be honest, I mainly dug this up from an interview with Sega's CEO, which I'll put in the description if you guys want to read it. But it explains why we never got anything like a Streets of Rage follow-up, or in this case it explains why after Unleashed, Sonic games didn't feel like they had as much of a budget, with it starting to show in different places. It's probably why they also wanted to reuse different level themes too, as a way to save money and time. This led into games like Sonic Forces coming out, where they're getting trashed by YouTubers in the 2010s, and it wasn't just Forces either. They retroactively made people think that the adventure games were bad, that Unleashed was bad, etc., and that the classics were the only games that mattered. To be honest, this topic can be a whole video on its own, but my point is, it was just not fun to be a Sonic fan at this time. I think we've already seen Sonic Team improve in pretty big ways with Sonic X Shadow Gens releasing last year, and it has me feeling more confident that they can deliver with the next game, but there are some genuine quality control steps that they can take to improve the reception of the next one. First off, ditch the old aesthetic that they've been holding on to since Shadow of 5. I know I've been talking about this in my other vids, but it is important. When they do this, it'll be what bridges themselves with games like Crash 4 and Spyro remakes. Next, I think that they can polish the mechanics of the open zone a lot and just get rid of the jank that's in their games completely. Thankfully this was taken care of in Shadow Gens, but the core mechanics from Frontiers are still used there, so it just carries a lot of what made Frontiers so janky to control, especially in 2D levels. I think if they were to overhaul how the mechanics worked and in general just gave it a fresh start, but still have it serve the same purpose with what the open zone is supposed to be about, then it'd just be a major step up from Frontiers and Shadow Gens. Finally, I want it to be original. I want a Sonic game where there is nothing being reused. No levels, no type of story beats, nothing. Just keep it new so that we don't know what the next level is. Or that we don't know if there's anything that they could be reusing, like in any type of way. What I'm trying to say is just make sure not to play it safe, since last time we got this kind of treatment was in Sonic Unleashed. At the end of the day, I have faith the Sonic team will deliver on the next game, and hopefully we can actually see a little bit of what they have in store when Summer Game Fest comes around. I feel like we're at the point where the brand is in a really good place right now. A lot better than it was around a decade ago, so I just feel like this is the right chance, but that's just me. Thanks for watching the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.